Welcome to Parenting is an action word presented by Glow and Grow. This podcast focuses on showing up for our children with intention, care, and consistency. Yeah. It's about learning, growing, and doing the everyday work that shapes who our children become. Remember, the word parent is not only a noun, it's also a verb. In other words, being a parent isn't only about who you are, it's also what you do.
Welcome back to Parenting is an Action Word. Today we're going to talk about the topic of mothering. When you had a mother who didn't mother you in the way that you would like to be mothered. And with me today, I could think of no other guest that I would want to invite than my own sister, who is also a teacher like I am, and she is Alice Stockton. Alice, thanks for coming to the podcast today.
You're welcome. Glad to be here.
So we're just going to dive right into it. Back in 2021, we had a very shocking event that happened during the pandemic. Our father had a heart attack and passed away. Within a year later, our father had passed away and we were no contact with our mom. And this information became shocking to our extended family. Not only our maternal family, but also our paternal family, because our parents at the time of our father's death had been married for 35 years. And so over that time, the sides kind of meshed in together and got to know each other. So people had all their opinions. What people don't seem to understand is you don't really know what is happening within somebody's home. And Bell Hooks, who is a phenomenal writer, in her book, All About Love, she uses the term that I'm going to use here is your family of origin. So that's your mom and dad and siblings if you have those. So people don't really know what's happening in your family of origin if they're not living that life. And so people had a perception of what our family was like with our mom and our dad, myself, Alice, and our youngest sister. So it's 5 of us all together. And externally facing, I believe we had what people would call like family goals, right? You have married couple, you have 3 beautiful daughters, we're all, smart and all these things. But inside the home, we didn't have the best relationship all the time with, our mom, especially. And our dad died when he was 71. When he was 70, we had a birthday party for him at my house. And on the back of my house, the house I was living in at the time, I had a sunroom. And my dad's like, come outside. I was just like, why are we coming outside? The party's inside right now. So we were outside in the sunroom. And my dad was going over his life plans. And I was like, why are we going over this? And my dad was very organized. So we already knew if he passed away, these are the things that he wanted us to do. It was already planned out. And if you're listening to this and you don't got your future planned out for when you're not going to be here, please take care of that because nobody wants to deal with that on the back end. So I was like, this is weird. But then he said to me, when I'm gone, I really want you all to try with your mom. I know how hard it is. And I know that you all may choose to walk away. But could you try just for me? So that's the segue into that year after he died, we tried. And one of the things we tried was trying to get more educated. So we had some people that recommended the book. And that book was Adult Children of Emotionally Immature Parents, How to Heal from Distant, Rejecting, or Self-Involved Parents. And that was written by Dr. Lindsay C. Gibson. And we read this book together in 2022. So Alice, how did you feel reading this book together as we were grappling with our relationship with our mom that was essentially falling completely apart without our dad there to kind of be the person holding everything all together?
I guess when we started reading that book, I had never heard that book until you had mentioned it to me. But that's when we started reading that book, it kind of opened my eyes to like how our relationship really was with both mom and dad. Because honestly, you was a little closer to dad than I was, but both our parents were always in our life. Like stayed married the whole entire time. But by reading that book, kind of made me realize that maybe our parents shouldn't have done that, or maybe they shouldn't have treated us like that. Maybe they shouldn't have said stuff like that to us. Like it made me realize that, oh, our everybody's relationship with their parents wasn't the way our relationship was with our parents, and maybe maybe I don't want to have that same relationship with my own kids after reading that book. Or like maybe I need to change things that I'm doing because I don't want my kids to feel the same way about me when they're adults. And but I couldn't even picture a time in this world where I don't have a relationship with my two girls. Like I couldn't even picture that.
Yeah, and I think that's also what bowled up for me is I didn't even realize until I went off to Purdue how our family was problematic, because you're meeting other people from different states, different countries, and they're talking about what they're doing with their parents. I'm like, oh, you did that with your parents? Oh, your parents did that with you? Oh, your parents never said that to you? And that was like my first aha moment that, oh, because our life literally was school, church, and home. We were extremely isolated. We weren't allowed to really participate in any extracurriculars. I didn't go to prom. We didn't go to school dances. We didn't go to school events. And at church, we were in everything: praise team, choir, drill team, at Sunday school.
Usher board.
And both Alice and I were president of the youth at one point in time. So, like, if there was a position open at church, we was got to be on it. A ministry for kids, we was about to be there. And don't forget summer, vacation Bible school, and church trips. Like, that was our life. So we were not only within this kind of small circle in our home, but we were also very sheltered just about regular things that kids did. When I tell people the first time I went to the movies by myself was in high school, and people are like really shocked about that. I'm like, for me to go to the movies, I had to have the address of the movie theater. I had to have the license plate of the car I was going to be in. I had to have an estimate. I had to tell how long the movie was going to be, what movie theater we were going to be at, if we were going to go to the mall, with the address of that, how much time it was going to take. And so I think I went to the movies 3 times in high school, and I was just like, forget this. Like, this is just too much just to leave the house. And so it was just so hard to be social and to be integrated. So reading this book, what I appreciated about Dr. Gibson, that she gave you tools. So she gave you an inventory to be like, hey, you got an emotionally immature parent. These are the things that if they are doing this, these are a sign of immaturity. And then she also had in the book was what a sign of maturity looked like. And what I do appreciate what Alice said, even though we're going to focus more on our mom on this episode, there were parts in this book where our dad showed up, was being very kind of closed off and was just like, I got a roof over your head. I'm paying for your college. I'm paying for all of these things. Surely, you don't need anything else from me. You don't need affection. You don't need these conversations. I'm giving you everything you need to survive, because that was more than my dad, who was pretty much absent most of my life, did. So clearly that's the bar. And say a little bit more, Alice, about maybe some things that you're like, hey, an action that you took that I'm like, I want to do differently, so I don't end up in this situation where my own kids are like, hey, mom, I'm 18 now. Goodbye.
I would say probably the tone of my voice. Even at home, at work. Like, I know what the tone of my voice sounds like. Even I said more with, I got 2 girls. One's 16, one's 14. My oldest one, like, no issues. Like, she listens, like she good. My younger one, I found myself using a louder voice or getting to a point where I was yelling. And when your child tells you that you are yelling all the time, that they don't like how you sound, you want to change that. Cause I don't, especially with her, because she also dealt with like other like emotional things, especially at school, more at school than at home. But with her, she makes me work. She makes me work being a mother. I would say she makes me work. Like she's not as easy as my oldest one, but that's no problem. But what getting off topic. But working on the tone of my voice and not getting to the point where I'm like yelling all the time or using a loud voice because either I'm frustrated because you're not listening or because you're just asking so many random questions that has nothing to do with what I'm asking you to do. So I would say working on the tone of my voice and not yelling as much. And I would say I did spank in the past, but after all, when your child, the same child, tells you, "Why are you spanking me? It's not working."
Wow.
Yes, your niece told me that. I did not
You're
spank her
saying that too.
after that. I mean,
Wow.
but I also don't want to have. I also, even when I did spank, it wasn't for every little thing. Like, oh, you didn't do the dishes on time. Let me spank you. Oh, you rolled your eyes at me. Let me spank you. It wasn't for every little thing. It was just like for like what I would consider. We didn't got to this point. You're getting a spanking. But yes, when your child tells you that spanking is not working, you stop spanking. But I felt like I tried to find, I don't know, newer way or like better ways to deal with and figure things out, especially with my younger one. My older one, again, she makes being a parent so easy. My younger one makes me work a little harder to get those emotions. She's also a Capricorn. I kind of blame on being a Capricorn sometimes, but both of us are Capricorn. We yes, it's fun. I would say it's fun.
Well, I liked how you talked about spanking or corporal punishment because when it came to our dad, I could remember like one time my whole life that I got spanked by dad. Dad hated to spank. His punishment was I'm going to talk what you did to death until your ears fall off and your eardrums bleed. And I remember when I got older and I was like, after I graduated in college, I said to dad one day and we just cracked up laughing. I said, some days I just wanted you to hit me because I didn't want to hear this lecture for like the 100th time. Like, could you just hit me? It'll be quick and over with. And we laughed about it because we were at that place where we could laugh about those things. But our mom, on the other hand, it seemed to be some type of joy of beating and spanking. And she had a joy of trying to get us in trouble. Like even when you were saying like the dishes, I found that very triggering because one of the things our mom used to do was not clean stuff well and then put dirty things into the cabinets. And then when our dad would say, "Why are these dishes dirty?" she would blame us and say it was us, knowing that we didn't wash the dishes as she did. And then we would get spanked for not doing it right. And so I'm like, you are telling a lie. Which then turned into, I remember being in high school at this point in time, I'm like, before I go to bed and before dad comes home for second shift, I'm checking the cabinets to see if the dishes are clean. So she can't tell that lie and then come and beat us. And like the amount of acrobats I had to do as a kid to try to outthink these games that she would play, I don't want that with my kids. And so I have twins. And they're 15 now, and people say things like, "What's it like having twins?" I'm gonna tell you what it's like. They team up. That's what happens. And I went into parenting like I am not going to spank. I'm not going to do that. I don't want to hit. I don't want that to be the language of communication. But when you put a baby gate and they break 3 of them by working together. When you put the thing on the doorknob and they figure out we both hold, there's a thing you put on the doorknob where they can't turn the door and get out of the room. But when they figure out they can hold on to each side of the door thing and throw their bodies back to pop it open. And then they're going downstairs. Because I remember this day. They broke the thing off the door. So now they're outside their bedroom. There's a gate. They push. So they figured out if we pushed one of the twin, they pushed one of them over the gate. And so from the other side, the one opened the gate. So now they're through the gate. That was gate number 1. We had a second gate to get into the kitchen. We have now used the same strategy to get into the kitchen. Now we're going to push a chair and get into the cabinets. And so we got stuff everywhere. And I was just like, oh, you thought.
I mean, that was great teamwork, though.
Like there was a part of my brain that wanted to be low-key impressed, but I was like, they little, so they can't clean this mess up. So yes, I looked over to the bookcase, and in my bookcase I had a little cup with a ruler in it. I tore those little calves up, and I didn't want to do it. I did not want to do it because I said to myself, I'm not going to be this person. And I was just, but then when you spank and you get the behavior changed, you're like, oh, I'm going to do this again. But I just had this internal struggle, like I don't want to be this person. Mm-hmm. And one of the times, and it was for me, if I was spanking, it always had to do with like safety stuff or getting to something they weren't supposed to be in. That was it. Them talking back to me, didn't care. Them throwing themselves on the floor, did not care. It was literally, oh, we're going to try to stick a fork in the socket because I'm saying don't do it. And you are attempting your life right here because little people have this talent of trying to see how many ways they can risk their lives. So I was like, but as my kids were getting older, so they're like 4, they're like, you didn't explain it to me. And for me, that was my aha moment of, now some of us are saying, if you're listening, you're like, they're a kid. I'm like, don't gotta explain it to them. I say you do. I'm just gonna say, how is that working out for you right now? Because that might work short term, that doesn't work long term, because children are nothing but younger humans who deserve to have things explained to them if they don't understand. And if they get an understanding, and if you even get their buy-in, they might be less likely to do. So then I shift my parenting, not to my dad, Robert, just every single time you did something, I'm going to bring up every single thing you did before that point and lecture your ear off. I really tried to get them to get the understanding of what I'm trying to get them to do or why I don't want, there's a reason I don't want you up in the cabinet getting out cookies and eating cookies before you go out the house, because you're going to be off the chain, or you're going to have cavities, or I don't want you to drink all this juice with this sugar on it, because then you're still being potty trained right now. You're going to have an accident. That's why I didn't want you in there drinking stuff. So trying to explain just a tad bit. So that helped me to move away from at least the spanking to like, I'm going to intentionally talk. Because by the time my kids went to school, that was going to do it. And then my kids kind of became like me. Our mom would either spank or hit us so much. I just learned to take a slap. Like I literally learned how to take a slap. And that's a horrible thing to say, but I learned how to anticipate it. I knew which way she was coming, and I knew I had to turn my head fast enough so my glasses wouldn't get broken. Because if my glasses got broken, now Dad's pissed off because he had to spend more money to get my glasses. And for those of you that don't know, my eyesight is horrible and my glasses have always been expensive. So I learned, how do I get slapped and not get my glasses broken? I never wanted my kids to be like, how do I survive Mom? I didn't want my kids to ever feel that way. Are there some other things that you are doing differently than how we have been parents to have a different bond with your children now and when they are adults, when they have the right to choose whether they keep a relationship or leave a relationship?
I like how you said how they have the right to choose. Just that right there, like I feel like although I still struggle with it sometimes with something, I feel like I give my girls more of a voice of like what they want to wear, what they want to do. Like if you want to go somewhere, I just need to know who, where, how long it's going to be. Most likely me and your dad's going to take you. Like if I give them the opportunity to venture out and do all these things, like Zoe, my oldest one, she's enjoying so many clubs this year. Like I never even like so many, but she had the choice to do that. She was able to do that because again, she keeps her grades up. Because that was one other thing. You gotta keep your grades up. Then you can basically do not whatever, but like smart stuff. So if she joined all the clubs, even Phoenix, like as long as you're doing what you're supposed to do, like you can wear what you want to, as long as it's not showing too much. I tell them if it's showing too much, if it's too tight, no. Past that, it's your style. Even with Phoenix, a couple of things, I'm like, we're gonna need to get rid of those. Those are too small. But I give them the choice. I give them more of the choice of what they want to do. Even with, I would say, even with church, because I know both of us differ on this one, and we have like the whole time. But I give them the option if they want to go to church, if they want to follow any type of religion. Because Felix actually, my younger sister, she actually went to a church thing recently. One of her friends invited her, but then she like, no, that's just not my thing. I don't want to go back. I'm like, okay, but if you want to, I'm also there to support you. But I try to support them in what they're doing as well, so that they keep wanting to explore, to do more things, not just sitting at home, going to church, back to school, home, church, school, like that never ended cycle. Like they're able to do other things. Like Zoe recently went to the movies with her friend, like just them two, like dropped off, went to movies, picked up, came back home. Like I think I went, like when you said the movie, I think I went to the movies one time with like one friend.
Yeah, like we literally had no freedom to go anywhere. And to, in my opinion, to prevent us from wanting to go somewhere, we were given a list of things we had to accomplish and do to be able to do it. And a couple of times I'm like, I'm going to jump through every damn hoop y'all give me so I can go. But then when you go, it's just not worth it. Or your friends are just like, your parents is doing too much. I don't want to hang out with y'all anymore. But I like what you said about how we differ on religion. Our kids, we go to two churches now, which is frowned upon by some of my artists and family members because well, first of all, we were raised missionary Baptists. In our family, we have Apostolic, Church of God in Christ, Methodist, Baptist, Missionary Baptist, and some Muslims. I do not, probably some, and then some people that are on a spiritual journey. That's the best way I can explain it. Spiritual journey with some heavy African undertones. I think that's how I would describe it. This might not how they would describe it, but I don't think we have any atheists in our family. I think everybody believes that there's something bigger than this. But anyway, and if you are, look, we didn't know. But Alice and I are able to have a difference of opinion without us trying to shove an opinion down each other's throats. The way that we
were raised, that again.
Yeah, the way that we were raised is like our opinions, our parents, these are your opinions. You do not get to have a differing opinion. And even when you are adult, I am now going to tell you that what you're doing is wrong. Your whole life is wrong. Your choices are wrong, which made it hard when we said, like, we have decided to disconnect from our mom because we don't want this part. We don't want this anymore. And so people are like, well, it's your mom and you should do this. And I'm like, you're not listening to us. You are not allowing us to have that autonomy. And we also both have been chastised about the fact that we give our kids autonomy because we didn't have a lot of autonomy. And I feel like it's not like we're just saying, hey, do whatever, kids, and live your life. It's within a frame. It's within some boundaries. I've had some of our relatives say, oh, y'all kids are going to be on drugs. They're going to be out here having babies and stuff because we gave them choice. And what's interesting, I have such a good relationship with my kids that I know about the kids that they know who do drugs because they told me. And they're like, yeah, mom, I'm not interested in that. I don't want to smoke nothing. I don't want to do any of that. My friends already know not to ask me about it. I don't even feel like I could have even said that to our parents to say that I am, granted, we knew people who were doing drugs. But if we would have said that, our parents would be like, oh, so you're doing drugs now? No, I'm telling you, the kid on the bus said he was smoking weed or what. I'm not doing it, but they couldn't hear that. Oh, you're associated with it. You're near it. We are on the same bus stop. Like we can't really do anything about it. Like there's no listening. There's no conversation, which also makes you less likely when you're adult to want to share things. For me, one of the things I want to be able to be a person that my kids, no matter how old they are, is like, I can pick up the phone and tell mom whatever. And even if she's like, doesn't agree with it, maybe is disappointed in me, I know I can still call her and she has my back. Yeah. I did not feel like that with our parents. I felt like there was going to always be a lot of unnecessary judgment and a lack of acceptance of that we have the autonomy to do. So with religion, I attend a non-denominational church. I have for quite some time now. And several of our family members are like, oh, so you don't believe in nothing. Y'all don't stand for nothing. No, that's not what I said. See, now you putting words in my mouth. I thought, because originally we was going to hell because we weren't in church. So now I am in church, but I'm not in the right church. So I'm still going to hell. Like I can't win here. Which is why I shifted to saying, which kind of aligns with this book we had read, of creating boundaries. I said, I am informing you of my decision. I'm not soliciting feedback. And I'm going to tell you, because Alice already knows. Oh, I might as well just cursed out our family members. I might as well just said all the curse words and took the Lord's name in vain when I said that, because what I was saying to them, I'm not the 10-year-old that you still keep seeing. I'm a grown woman who is saying, as for me and my house, this is what we are doing. And because I love you and I care about you, I decided to share that with you. But I'm not asking your opinion because I don't plan on changing what I'm doing. I'm not saying, hey, I'm struggling on what to do with my sons. Can you help me with this? I'm not doing that. And so they can't see us as an equal, like another adult. I'm out here. So
Yeah.
I'm really in.
I feel like it got worse after that passed, especially with a couple of our family members. It's like, oh, your father's not around anymore. But I feel like there were some good intentions somewhere in that whole situation. But I feel like as soon as dad passed, some family members like, oh, let me step in, let me be the father figure, let me be the parent that you need. Let me tell you what you need. Let me tell all the things that you're doing wrong. Let me be into you that you need to go to church. And personally, that don't work. That never works with me. I'm like Shantae, I just cut you off and stop replying. I don't put energy into that. Maybe I need to find another way, but yeah, you can't just. I'm an adult. I don't think they're ever going to. Some families, I don't think they're ever going to see us as adults. I think they're still going to see us as kids until the day we die. Unfortunately.
Yeah, and sometimes I wonder how that their childhood must have got them to this path, right? Because I with giving my kids autonomy to say, "Hey, mom," because like recently, Christmas Day of 2025, because I don't know when you'll listen to this episode. I crashed out. I crashed the hell out. But that's what happened.
I don't think I knew about this.
Yeah. Because I was so mad. You know how you just trying to hold it together and somebody just throws that last match and everything just goes boom. Mm-hmm. But we have a system in our family. If you cook and you are the person that eats the food that's cooked, you come and clean the kitchen. And I grow my own food. Alice grows her own food, and I cook a lot of that food. And sometimes that stuff takes hours. So I work 8 hours a day, come home and make a dinner that literally takes 2 to 3 hours. And all I'm asking y'all to do is wipe down the counters and wash the dishes. My son said something back, and I was like, boom. And then just like those little memes about mom crashing out and then sitting there with her little robe on, talking about, let's open the Christmas gifts. She was me. The next day I was like, damn, Shantae, this ain't it. So I apologize to my family because, first of all, our parents never did this. I've done this a lot. I apologize to my kids. If I mess up, I'm going to put on my big girl panties and say, I messed up. And I think that goes a long way with kids feeling like they can trust you. And then I said, in 2026, because I'm a real human, and New Year's Eve and have I said, I'm going to need some time. I said, in 2026, I am not going to crash out. And also, our dad died during winter break. And this was coming up on the 5th year anniversary. So I was already like on edge, not to excuse my behavior, but it's true. I was just already like, it's the 5th year, all of this stuff. And then you talking, boom. But I will say it is May 2026. I have not crashed out. I have kept my word. And when you apologize to your kids and you change your actions, they believe you. And a lot of times with our mom, she would not apologize. She may claim she's going to change her actions, and then she would just keep doing the same things. And so to name explicitly, apologizing to my kids is a tool that I use that I hope will show them that, hey, I'm a human being too. I'm going to mess up again, but I can own that and I can restore this relationship with you. And hopefully I'm teaching them how to restore a relationship with each other. Or if they say something to us, they can come and apologize to us. And our kids do apologize to each other and to us if they, act out or something. Essentially, you have to decide. You have to decide what happened in your childhood that you didn't like. What do you want to keep? And what do you want to do different? And how do you keep doing those different things when you don't have the support of your mom? Because being a mom is not till you're 18. Being a mom is until you off of this earth. So Alice, do you have any other type of mother figures that you lean on? Or what do you do when you do need advice and you're trying to mother differently than we were mothered, but you can't talk? We're not talking to our mother.
I would say, I don't know if I have any, like, I want to say elderly, like older than us, but not like old people that I talk to. But I would say I talk to one of my friends. We go out to eat like once a month. I talk to her sometimes. And honestly, I talk to you. But besides that, like I'll tell you stuff sometimes, like what the girls are doing, like, and then you'll give me advice sometimes. But like outside of that, I don't talk to a whole lot of people. I'm not very social. And I'm also not that person to be telling all my business to people, no matter how close we are. So, but yeah, you're my person.
Say some people that will watch this episode will be like, this is the most I've heard Alice speak. So,
oh my God. That is true, depending on who was. Y'all, I promise I talk. You talk to me, I'll talk back. If you're talking to me and I don't talk back, I probably don't like you.
You don't like. I will tell you, it is funny when we're in the same space. I can immediately tell when somebody's getting on her last nerves because all of her answers are very short. And typically the person is an extroverted person who is completely oblivious. I'm like, every question you ask clearly would be an answer with elaboration. And she has managed to use the fewest words possible. Get on. She don't want to be bothered with you right now. Anyway, back on topic. See, why we can't do no episodes together? Because we can't act right.
I mean, people used to it. Though.
When my boys were twins, to tie back into what you're saying, I lost my train of thought when you were. Anyway, when I had twins, they had suggested I join a parenting group for other people who were having twins. It gave me an idea about, if I can't talk to my own mother, I can talk to any mothers that are out there. It doesn't have to be an older mother. It could be a mother that's younger than me that may have some tip to do that I hadn't thought about because I'm older. So for me, let's name some of the actions that we talked about today, since this is parenting, is an action word. So one of the actions we just talked about is the fact that you can surround yourself by other mothers that you want to be like, or other mothers that you just feel safe enough to share, like, my kids are doing this. What do you want to do? Because you can't talk to your own mom. We also talked about allowing your kids to have some type of autonomy to see who they are. Because when you are mothered in a way that you don't want to be mothered, a lot of times your autonomy is stripped away from you, or you're within this game, or you're within this situation that you don't want to participate in. And I will add this. One of the things that we get a lot about our mom is so nice. And I always tell people, and I don't say this like
anybody could pretend.
A lot of times when people have abusive behavior, whether it's physical abuse or verbal abuse, to be able to keep the people they're abusing in line and to have no lifeline, they're nice everywhere else. So when people will be like, surely, Mrs. Stockton didn't say that. Surely Mrs. Stockton didn't lock y'all in the basement where there's no bathroom for hours on end. Surely Miss Stockton didn't slap you under the table. She wouldn't do that because she's so nice. She works with kids. Oh, my kids love her. And so all of that stuff, I'm just like, but no, you haven't lived with her. And even with our mom's family of origin, We lived with our mother longer than they did. So I'm like, how dare you fix your lips to tell us what our experience is with this person when our mom was the youngest child, which meant that all of her siblings had a fewer years even living in the same place that she lived. So we actually lived with her longer, and we got to see the lack of maturity. But a lot of times you have a choice. You have a choice of, I'm going to repeat the cycles that I was unwillingly had to be a participant in, or I break the cycle. And that's why I thought it was important to bring Alice out here to talk about it, because we were in this particular cycle together, and we're pretty vocal about it. For us, no contact means no contact. We don't call our mom, we don't text our mom, we don't talk to our mom, we don't visit our mom, we have no interactions with our mom, and by default she has no interaction with any of her grandkids because there's 3 of us and only Alice and I have kids. And some people feel that that's cruel, but I would say would be crueler is to allow someone to have access to your children that mistreats you.
I was like, well,
what final actions do you want to leave the guests with about how you should parent if you weren't parented in the way that you desired, or the parent in the way it's not even about what you desired, it's a parented in the way where your humanity was intact. That's what I want to say.
I wanted to give both my girls a childhood that they don't have to go to counseling for.
Now that's a bar.
Amen.
You know, my therapist said, I kept telling her we had a good childhood. I kept telling her that. And I would say, yeah, our dad saved up money so we didn't have to pay. He got shot in the Vietnam War. Tuition was paid for. And then he had money for our room and board. We had nice clothes. We lived in the house. The parents were married. And then my therapist said this. She said, would you want your children to have your childhood? And I immediately said no. And then you know what this lady did? So Shantae, did you have a good childhood? I was like, damn, I want right into that. But it goes back to your point. We want to mother differently. We want to talk about the emotional wounds and the scars that we have because we don't want our kids to be in counseling like I was. So I know this is like a missionary Baptist church. We wrapping up for the 3rd and final time. We're not going to come back and say, so we can praise Him for the rest of our days. We're not going to come back with that. And if you didn't get that, talk to somebody about that song that went to a predominantly Black church. They'll catch you up on that. All right. So Alice, final action steps. Give us 3 action steps a person should take if they want to parent differently than they have been parented.
I would say, very first one, just try harder. Try harder. Talk to your kids. And be there to listen when they want to talk to you about whatever it is. Talk to them, listen, and try harder than what your parents did.
All right, my 3, I'm gonna keep it short and simple. Accept who your children are, even if who they are is different than who you imagine they would be. So if they say they don't want to go to college and you thought you were going to have college graduates, accept that. Be intentional. I do dates with my sons. And because I have twins, we do me and my twins and then them individually. So they are not seen as a package all the time. Well, we just do stuff where I just get to know who they are. Because we're working, they're doing school, sports, athletics. Me cheering from the stands is not getting to know you. And when I get to know you better, hopefully we're relating better, because I'm also sharing about that. And then the 3rd thing, read a book, go to counseling, learn something. Because if you hadn't been parented that way, you haven't seen a model of that. So you need to find a model, a healthy model of what you're trying to do. Because our parents, Alice will tell you, we would sit there Friday nights, we will all sit in silence and nobody would talk. So now me trying to have a conversation with my own kids when our parents did not really talk to us, I had to figure out, okay, what do I say to start this conversation? Now, granted, we are both teachers, so we have to learn how to have conversations with all types of kids, about all types of things. So that became easier for me. But yeah, so those are my tips. So Maybe we'll have Alice back on another episode, and you'll be lucky if you do, because she don't talk that much, not publicly. And if she is not talking to you, take a hint. Well, thanks for listening, and come back for our next episode.